so I want to enroll back to school, so I was just wondering what's the process?
So to enroll back to school, have you previously been a student?
No.
Never have you gone here? Okay, so you would have to first enroll at elac.edu, and once you go through application, they'll send you an ID number within 3 to 5 days.
Okay. So can I use the computer?
Use computers? You can use those computers. Do you want me to help you?
No, I think I got it.
I don't think you're going to be able to use the keyboard. Too far.
Well, just let me ask if they have any other computers. Excuse me, do you have any other computers that I could access?
You can actually go to room 122. It's the computer lab. It's all the way around. It's directly behind us. Or you can go to the library. It's down the hall, right before you turn the corner.
By any chance, do you know what other services you guys offer for students who have disabilities?
We actually have a DSPNS office.
Okay.
But unfortunately, they're closed for today. They're only open Monday through Thursday from 8 to 4.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, now where's the library? They send us here because
They will access it.
they should. Huh? But then actually sometimes they're also pretty tough.
Are you sure you know that?
I'm sure it's not. What is it called? Sunday? It's closed. Sunday and Saturdays. What other office did you say they had?
The lab? I forgot what room. I think it's where it says, I don't know. Oh, look, this is student
Student services. Is that the one?
right here? Because it says the DSPNS office is here.
Is it this one?
Yeah. Let's see, open. It's not. I think it's also closed.
Doesn't even have the hours. Okay, in the library, what's the other card? Clock and send.
Hi guys, do they know where the computer lab is at?
It's in room 109. There are a bunch of computers in there. There's several computers, but like if there's a computer in the lab, I'm not sure. Most of the rooms are not computers. I know that the 109 room is empty. There's lots of computers in there. So
It's probably that one. Well, is it through this side or that side? This side.
you can go this way, but it leads both ways.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That one's busy.
Busy.
You're gonna have to wait for it.
But I really need to pee.
So do you wanna go in this one?
Well, if I fit.
Well, I don't think you do. No, you're not. You're not. It's too small. You're gonna have to wait because there's not another one. Why didn't we park here? Let's wait this and just have a.
Taken. They should have more accessible parking.
So where do we park?
for the mayo.
What are you gonna make?
A sandwich. Can you pass me the mayo, please? Oh, and the ham. It's right there. And the bread, please.
Do you want to put tomato or anything else?
No, I think that's it for right now. Let me see. Okay.
I have to close the.
Yeah, okay, so let me just push this back up now. Okay, let's see. And then, okay, I'm gonna need a spoon.
Child.
No, baby, no. Okay, you wanna carry her?
Yeah.
So doing this video made me realize a lot of the things that people with physical disabilities go through, in terms of how people look at you, in terms of how people look like they sometimes don't even have empathy for you, or just assuming that you need assistance. One of the things that I will say that we will need in terms of training for education would be, sometimes if a student needs who is in a wheelchair, would be having a paraprofessional to assist them with personal care, with physical access to the classroom and instructional materials. In terms of employment, it could be that having a service dog in the workplace, allowing the employee to bring a caretaker to work to assist the person who has a disability with, in terms of personal care, having access to the office computers and machinery. For example, like the fax machines, copy machines. These machines should accommodate for a lower height, so people in a wheelchair can use equipment without hassle. So in terms of environmental hazards or access, I feel like the East Los Angeles College from the Southgate campus wasn't very accessible. So a lot of things that we noticed that was not very ADA compliant, in terms of like ramps, for example. There was no ramps to access the outer entrances of the school. We had to go all around to the main entrance to access, in order to get inside the school. That would be one. When we went into the main office and asking for assistance in terms of how to register for school, you get to see in the video that we were able to use the computer, but the computer was at like a very high standard, so making it impossible for a person in a wheelchair to actually access that computer. And then when you ask them about the services they have, they were not very aware of what services they offer to a student with disabilities. When they redirected us to like either the library or the lab, they were not even open. They didn't have accessible hours, because they don't think about students who have disabilities that will visiting the campus on a weekend. When we get to see the part of the video when accessing even the restroom, how it's a struggle to even get into a restroom for a person who has a physical disability. You could see there was a cleaning cart right in the entrance, making it even way harder for a person who has a disability and maybe not even have somebody to help them open the door. The heaviness of the door when you go in the stalls, two of them were out of order, the other one was busy. So imagine for a person who has a physical disability, will be they're at really high disadvantage in order to access any restroom. I would say another of the things would be, the one thing that really caught my attention was like the eyes and people looking at me and asking, oh, like, do you need help with this or you need help with that. I felt like it did make me feel like they believed I couldn't really do much. So having to think that in mind and how they actually really think about people with disability is something that really caught my attention. When filming the film at home, 3 things that I would think would better help me if I had a physical disability would be, in terms of like adapting the environment to live independently, would be having a more accessible wheelchair, because if you guys seen in the video, I did have somebody who would have to like push me, but I would think more, a more adaptive chair so I could do things on my own. Having all the foods in the lower level of the refrigerator, and then trying to make everything more accessible at home. I think that would be one of the 3 things that I would think would be good in order to live independently.